All right. Without further ado, I am pleased to present Rebecca Crichton, Executive Director of Northwest Center for Creative Aging.
Thank you, Jessica. Welcome, everybody. How many of you know Dori and Mack? This is known as a packed audience. This is good because you're all friends, and if any nerves that are happening, you're among friends. And hopefully, those of you who don't know them will become friends. I'm Rebecca Crichton. I'm the Executive Director of the Northwest Center for Creative Aging. Dori just happens to be the President of the Northwest Center for Creative Aging, the President of my board, long-serving and not paid. That's okay. And we've been friends for a number of years, so it's been wonderful for me to watch her come into this late life relationship, late life. Okay, but I thought what an opportunity to be able to learn and talk honestly about what it is like to be in relationship, new relationships as we age, and to think about what it means that's different from when we're younger. I want to thank Town Hall for being partners with us. We do monthly events here, and it feels really comfortable to be here. The first couple of times it was terrifying, and now it's like whoever's here is here, and they're the right people to be here. So thank you for coming. I am delighted to introduce them. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Mack and Dori, and then they're going to come up, and we're going to have fun. So there. Dori Gillam is a speaker and writer on aging creatively and ageism, and is the board chair of Northwest Center for Creative Aging, Native Satellite. She loves hiking. There's way more about her. She is among the more, what do I want to say, open-ended person. She's open to stuff. She learns new things. She meets new people. And she and I both we give wisdom cafes for the King County Library System. We do a lot of things that engage people in our lives as we're aging. So she's a dear friend and a wonderful resource in our community. Mack McCoy is New York City born and raised. He's been a real estate broker in Seattle for 30 years. His hobbies include playing pop music with friends and admiring Seattle theater. Baseball has a role in his life, which he may or may not say, but let me say it's important. And he also buys all the tickets to everything that could possibly be on stage in Seattle for the next year and a half. So if you want to go to any of those, talk to him. So without further ado, as they say, come on up.
They said break a leg.
I think that sort of speaks to your experience with Mack tonight. We've got a good beginning here. Yeah, this is good. Well,
are you hurt?
Was that on?
Seen the other floor.
You're okay? Yeah. Good. Maybe. All right. Let us know if you're not. Okay. We'll go for there.
You should have known before I got on stage if I was okay.
You were then, but so this brings us to the whole question of how rapidly we can change in any minute at a time, but we're not going to go there right now. But so I invited Dori to do this because I kept hearing about her relationship, and I was truly jealous, and so I thought, I want to hear it more, and I want other people to hear it too, so that's why I invited her. And so I'm just going to run right into this and say, what was it that made you open to having a relationship after you turned 65?
I was single, and I was ready again. I had been married for 15 years, starting at age 20, and even though our parents said, "You're awfully young, are you sure you don't want to wait?" we knew what we were doing. We knew everything, of course.
All 20-year-olds do.
We did. So after that, we found out we didn't really know everything, and our marriage ended when we had been married about 15 years, and we had a 5-year-old daughter named Erica, and I was available again. I decided that I would go back out on the dating scene. Some of my friends said I was on my back on the dating scene.
You went there. I didn't do it.
I went there. And sometimes that was true. Hey, I was 35 years old. I've been married for 15 years already. But I really was looking for companionship and some fun. And my ex-husband was still in the picture. He had joint custody of our daughter, and so I wasn't looking for a dad replacement. I didn't need another dad. And I was actually had kind of a little different list than I might have had earlier in my life when I was only 18 or 19. So it was fun to kind of date around and see what's going on there. So I'll talk more about that in a minute, maybe.
How did I know I was ready? Well, I wasn't ready. I'd been married 38 years, really helped. Can anybody hear me? 38 years, really happily, and Cynthia had an accident and died a few months after that. And I found myself 7.5 months later with a ticket to see the Monkees. You remember, hey, hey, we're the Monkees. Hope this is an ASCAP house, by the way. I don't want them to pay extra royalties. And at the time, Mickey Dolenz was 74 or something and doing great. And Michael Nesmith was 76 and not doing great. He was physically unable to perform. He really shouldn't have been out on the road. The microphone would drift away from him, and a stagehand would have to come and swivel the mic back in front of him. And I'm looking at this guy from the balcony of the Moore thinking, he didn't get that way overnight. And I'm 66, and I probably don't have a lot of time left in my prime, to do pratfalls and such. And as I walked back home, I was thinking, okay, it's August. After Valentine's Day, after my birthday, my wife's death anniversary, then I'll ask a friend or two to help me with a dating profile. And then Dori came along.
And along came Dori, huh? I don't know we're going to get through the whole night without some music happening. She says she doesn't want to sing, but I don't know. Anyway, so I know you did some stuff about looking for relationships in between. What kinds of exploring did you do before you were taken by Mack?
Well, when I was first available at 35, which some of you were around with me at that time, I put an ad in The Weekly, the Seattle Weekly. How many of you remember the Weekly newspaper? Sassy, sensational 35-year-old seeks single male for fun and companionship. I got lots of responses, dated a few guys. I even got a response from the Florida State Penitentiary. I did not follow up on that one. And my friends at the time really were trying to write that response for me, and I was pretty glad they didn't send it. So I really had some fun dating around, but I didn't find anybody that I felt was worthy of my daughter Erica. So that was the first foray into dating. And then when I was about 55, I thought about it again. Well, in between there was some other dates and things, but I just wasn't online. So now online dating was there, and here was another opportunity. There were all kinds of dating sites out at that time. There was Silver Singles, Plenty of Fish. And I found out on Plenty of Fish that many of the men's profile pictures really were of them holding up a fish that they had caught. And I don't want to offend anybody here, but it's not the best way to introduce yourself. Either holding up a dead fish or with your motorcycle, your boat, your classic car, where the photo is actually quite far away for the person's picture because they're focusing on the car. They have the whole car in the picture, and then there's this little guy behind the wheel. And it's like, can't you get someone to take a better picture of you close up where I can see maybe your smiling face? I also liked the ones where there was a group shot of them and their buddies, which is pretty presumptuous because I might want to take a look at one. But that's what men often post. And if any of you are single and thinking about that.
And a man, don't do it with your car.
Don't do it with your car. Also, the best one, though, was a man posted a photo of clearly his daughter's wedding with his wife in the picture but torn out. And you know who was torn out. Yeah, just ask anybody on the street to take a close-up photo of you. And of course, the other one was when I finally made my decision I didn't want to be on online dating anymore, was when I saw pictures of men holding up fish or a deer's horns, that they had just killed a deer. And I decided right then that a man who's touched a deer's rack will never touch mine.
It's a good line.
Thank you. So I was available to be available, but I wasn't looking. I just decided about 3 or 4 months before I met Mack, I really don't know if I need anybody. I've been single for 35 years. I have fabulous friends and family, and I've been having a ball in my life, and I hadn't totally given up. I just wasn't looking at the time.
So for those who don't know, how did the two of you meet?
It wasn't a setup, but we found ourselves in a 3-person karaoke room.
Not a setup, really? Okay.
And because I'm always trying to impress the ladies, the very first song I picked to sing was a song by the Mamas and the Papas, and it was written by the group's leader, John Phillips, and he wrote it for his male singing partner, Denny Dori, to sing, so that Denny could sing about how he had slept with the band leader's wife, who was also in the group at the time.
That song would be what?
I saw her again last night. And you know that I shouldn't just string her along. It's just, I just have a way with words when I'm with ladies.
So we met karaoke.
We met at karaoke.
And it wasn't a setup.
And it wasn't a setup, and it couldn't have been a setup because I hobbled there, and this will surprise those of you who just saw me attack the rug with my backside, but I had back spasms, and I was struggling to walk the 6 blocks to Rock Box, and then when I got to there, I sat on this little square in the corner, and I couldn't get enough breath to sing many of the songs, and I was around 2 funny people who were trying to make me laugh all the time, which isn't good for back spasms either, laughter not being the best medicine if you have a back problem.
Did you sing in harmony right from the get-go?
Yes, Dori took the 3rd verse harmony line, which is a pretty difficult line.
Oh. It's going to be a lot of that. Oh, right. I was telling them on the way over that, how many of you remember the Newlywed Game? Mm-hmm. You know, where they would ask people like, what's your wife's favorite color? And it'd be like black. I don't know. And they never knew anything about each other. But how did you find out about each other? How did you discover each other over time? That's not on my list. I made that up.
I don't know anything about this guy.
Now's your chance to learn.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah.
I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, ask how he loads his dishwasher. I don't know.
It's a topic in and of itself. Leave it alone.
Well, we went to coffee. He asked me to go to coffee because he really couldn't. We couldn't do anything but sing when we were in karaoke the first night, and we sang for about 4 hours. And one member of the audience here was with us. That was our buddy, our mutual friend, who didn't set us up. And we had coffee. Oh, you got notes. Oh, he's got notes in Casey. Okay. So we had coffee at Starbucks. Neither one of us drinks coffee. We found that out. I don't drink coffee, but I always drink soda.
Really? On it? Oh, come on. You don't doubt the woman.
We talked with general conversation. I mean, I'm a fairly verbal person, and he's and he's a realtor, and he meets people all day, every day, and we had no trouble having conversation. So we didn't do an interview or a quiz. We just chatted. It was very pleasant.
So one of the words that showed up as we were talking about this was the list, and so I've never actually made a list, but if you had made a list of what you wanted in a partner, a potential partner, what would have been on the list, and how did the list look at this age as opposed to the way it might have looked years ago?
Remember, you're being taped.
and to be watched over and over, right? What you can learn from watching a tape.
Well, my list did not include someone from the Florida State Penitentiary. I know that one.
Was that Charlie Sheen in Major League? Well, you know, when I was young, I think all of you, most of our friends here are around our age, you know, between 30 and 50 or so. And I know you remember your early dating escapades in your teens and early 20s where you had a list of the qualifications that a suitable partner had to meet, or else you met him in a bar. I don't know why you did this. I did not have a list when I had met Cynthia, and I didn't have a list when I was thinking about what my friends were going to say about me when they placed an ad in the class, or when I placed an ad, or do whatever the kids do, go on the apps, you know, that thing there. I didn't have a list. I'm not a list person. I'm not very organized, although I think you really do appreciate that. I did bring notes. And I brought 2 notes, by the way. I was just really happy to meet somebody who was really very special and different. As Dori says, I've met a lot of people in my time. And I never for a moment, never thought, oh, I just wish now that I'm single, I had kept up with so-and-so. That never occurred to me. And when I met Dori, I knew she was unique and different, but I didn't know that I was going to crush on her until maybe the second or third time after Starbucks, which, by the way, I'm a shareholder of, so be sure to drink a lot of that there.
Well, when we're young, I think we have some physical characteristics that turn us on that we think we have to have. And we also, I wasn't actually planning on having a family. I didn't have Erica till I was 31. I really was having a great time being single and then being married. So I didn't have that family urge when I was married to Arnie and looking at that. However, as we moved along, I wanted someone who had a sense of humor and could make me laugh. I like to make people laugh, but I wanted someone who would tickle me and would really be able to get my sense of humor and would bring a sense of fun and a lifetime full of fun. And I think that's...
He's looking very funny right now.
And I think that's really important to both of us. And I never had in my list that it would be someone who sang or who, I suppose, liked music. I hope almost everyone likes or appreciates some kind of music. But when we have had more fun singing karaoke since then, 2.5 years, and I just can't imagine not singing with Mack.
And everybody asks them if they have their song, and they don't. But there are songs you return to that you sing all the time. So do you sing different songs depending on how you're feeling, or how do you decide the songs you sing?
We have a list. If you've never been to Rockbox, it's a private room, and it's great because you can get a second try at that song, a third try, you can change the pitch, and then you can say, oh, hell to the no, and hand the mic over to someone else and find another song. You don't have to wait an hour for it to come around. And our last session with Chris, the 3 of us managed to do 4 hours, and we hadn't gotten to some of the songs we were looking forward to getting to.
Oh, we go back about once a month. Yeah, we go there about once a month, and it's always a 4-hour date. Yeah, we just reserve that puppy and sit in there and order drinks and sing our hearts out.
So this question I like a lot because it's a little more serious, although we'll make fun of it, I think. We all bring our lives and our resources into our relationships. And we bring our history with us, and we sometimes refer to it as our baggage, or our old luggage, or all of those things. And as we get older, friends of ours said when we all met together that they had just recently learned to look at each other and accept them as is. sort of the way you do when you buy a used car, you see that word that says "as is." That's how we are at an older stage. And so how does that apply to the two of you?
Well, it's definitely true. The things that I thought were important 30, 40 years ago aren't important anymore. What's important to me is...
Somebody disagrees, but anyway, you can talk later. I know him.
Control themselves. What's important to me is unconditional love, and I had that from my parents. I was very lucky. I try to give it to my daughter, and that looks like saying you love the person all day, every day, lots of kisses and hugs, and really paying attention and having that mutual respect and the humor and the fun and the singing. As far as baggage, that's not much baggage. I think that's a pretty good thing. I didn't need to bring my ex-husband into the picture in any way. I didn't want him back, even though we divorced. And he passed away in 2010.
Better not to bring him back in that case, really.
Yeah. All right, everyone, hold hands. Yeah, I didn't need to do any comparisons. He was one of a kind person. Mack is two of a kind, and there's just no reason. Oh, the notes are out the window. Two notes. Yeah. So I don't know what baggage in a negative term, but as far as what I bring to the relationship, I really want someone that I can spend time with easily and fluidly, and really not have to work that hard. I work on our relationship.
Thank you.
You see how hard they're working at it right now, right? But I actually like what you're saying for a special reason, which is that we usually do think of baggage as the negative things, the difficult stories, the hard things, the things that were said that hurt us, and almost anybody can tap into that. If you've lived to be the age that many of us are, you got lots of difficult stories to share. But we don't often share, I think, what the good baggage is, what we bring, what you just said about growing up with a loving family, expressing your emotions in a positive way, laughing, seeing positive things. All of those are skills that we should have and experiences we should have, and ones that we want to bring into our aging, in particular, as we get older, to be able to figure out what still is good and exciting and meaningful and funny, and that we go forward with those things. And the two of you represent that to me a lot, that you keep going forward with those. I know. It's true, though. So we'll get to. So you have made some conscious decisions not to do some things that people do in relationships. That's expected of people when they get together. Where is she going? We're talking. It's right here on the notes. You've decided you're not going to get married. You've decided not to live together. You've decided to do things that people assume will come next. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, we have these nice houses, you see. And Dori has a cat, and Dori likes to wake up in time to greet the gulls, and I like to go to sleep about the time the gulls are waking up. And Dori also has part-time possession of a going-to-be 6-year-old. And I think that we like our routines. Well, maybe not our routines. Let me put it another way. I told Dori I like the idea of our dating in that we could both bring our A or at least B game to the times that we share together. And I don't know how you all are. I'm sure you all brush your teeth just beautifully. We should have the cameras in there. You should be doing Pepsodent commercials. But for the most part, that's not the most romantic part of any relationship for most people, and I'm not judging. But I just didn't really want to tried to start a relationship around brushing teeth and staggering around the kitchen looking for oatmeal and such. You know, my last relationship, my wife and I, we had 38 years to work that out. And I didn't want to bring 38 years of history, as we were talking about a little earlier, I didn't want to bring the baggage part of things, good or bad. I wanted us to have our own chapter to our lives.
I just sold my house this morning. I thought we were...
Right. Guess who didn't get the listing?
Is there a counselor in the audience? Do we have a counselor here? You guys want to come up and do a little bit moment here? Just how are you feeling about it?
I was wondering what that sign was doing in the yard.
Yes, I know. Actually, I don't know that. I don't know that one has to live with someone or be married to be completely and fully committed. Well, so I do know that someone doesn't have to be married or live together. We had a commitment party a couple months ago where we committed to each other. And I've lived in my house for 35 years. It's not because I can't leave that house or my child was born there or anything like that. I like where I'm living. I like the neighborhood. I like the house itself and the yard and things like that. And he has a very cityscape, and it's just not me. So I'm his and he's mine, but not the house, not the houses. So I'm not marrying a condo or a house, you know.
You know, at one point I used to say, and I still think it's true, that when people live together and are married, they have to negotiate when they're going to be apart, because the being together is the given. When you don't live together, you negotiate when to be together, which feels like, in a way, a more positive decision, as opposed to, I got to get out of here, honey, as opposed to, so good to see you again after 3 days, or whatever it is. And so in some ways, it seems like the best of both possible worlds to be able to. But I will also say, you like forests and grass and mountains and water, and he likes concrete and buildings and stuff like that. And right, but that's not a problem, or is it?
Not at all. We travel beautifully together, by the way. We've been on vacations for 3 weeks, Europe, and we've gone to Hawaii and Paris. And we absolutely, Oregon. We travel very well together. In fact, perfectly. There's absolutely no issue. So I don't know if I was staggering around with the toothbrush hanging out of my head, but it doesn't matter because there are absolutely no secrets. There's every vulnerability. We don't need to hide anything or hide those routine things, because that's understood too. That's a given. That's an as is, and we're there for the party. That's a song.
So I'm going to ask one of the questions that's hard for many relationships. So you're not living together and you're not married. Two of the things that get people in trouble in relationships are sex and money. So I'm going to ask about money. How do you do finances?
I charge him for sex.
I was hoping you'd share
An elegant solution that answers both questions.
Is it I want to know if it's an itemized list, is what I want to know.
Oh, so now you want the intimate bookkeeping details.
Go anywhere you want to go on this. I'm open.
I already went there. It's all over. Well, we had a little agreement early on that whoever invites for the date or the evening or the tickets or the trip pays.
Wow.
He invites me a lot.
All those tickets.
Except it turns out for like the long international trips where somehow we've decided that we're sharing.
You figured that out, yeah. So I know that one of the things, as we were preparing for this, and I was counting on us having some unscripted moments, as we already have, that you wanted to talk to other couples who were in similar situations, who'd come to each other after marriages, after years of whatever their lives were, and you said that you wanted to talk to them about how it was for them, and also in the process of talking to them, you wound up learning a little bit about yourselves. So I wondered if you would share a little bit. You don't have to tell us names, but what did you hear?
Well, I would like to ask, how many of you are or got into a relationship after the age of 60 or 65?
We've got
Okay.
not a giant number,
Not
but
a giant
some.
number.
Good.
And
They've got their arms around each other. This is good.
yes,
This is
they
good.
do.
I saw a
Almost that
lonely
arm.
person here, but this is. Are you happy?
Mine's a little different. I was 56 when I met my husband, who was 74, after
Wow.
being in a 44-year marriage, and
Wow.
he helped his wife with kidney cancer. We married a year later, and he passed away at 95, and we had a 20 and a half year of marriage.
Good for you. Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we did talk to a couple of couples. We talked to a gay couple who both have kids, and this is a brand new relationship for them in the last year or two. We talked with another heterosexual couple who have been married just a year, and we asked them some of these kinds of questions and tried to find out a little bit about how they do it and what they're thinking. And as far as what I learned about me, I guess I'd say I'm as happy as the two couples we talked with. I'm happy and content in my relationship, and I think that the people we talked with are going about this very reasonably, very responsibly, but also with full open hearts and love to enter in these relationships at this age, because we might not have that much time together. We know that.
Mac, you spoke to that, of just an awareness of not wanting to be on stage like that monkey, but but also just recognizing, because also you just came out of a relationship where somebody died, somebody you loved died, and how did that change how you looked at the future? You've talked a little bit about it, but you speak a little bit more about that.
Well, totally changed my approach to the future. I've always been an in the moment, day by day person. I never planned. I mean, I keep a calendar because I have appointments. I'm a responsible person after all.
Yeah, his boss is in the room.
We actually have a codependent relationship. We're like each other's bosses. I pay him.
That's right. I forgot.
That's true. It's true. And so we just were living day to day to day to day, day to day. And then one day it happened. And then many days afterwards, I felt alone in the world. I mean, I'm an orphan. I don't have siblings. The only family I have was really Cynthia's brother and his nephew who lived in Boston. And I got to say, we weren't super tight. So I was really kind of alone. And it took a little while for me to think of what I wanted to do in what we affectionately refer to as the third act of our lives. But I knew that I didn't want to be alone. I wanted to share. I wanted to love. I wanted to be loved. And I knew I would have fun again. I just didn't know when that was going to be. Then people were telling me, well, you were having fun. And it's just probably just my makeup. I can't not laugh for an entire day.
That's a good
Apparently I
general
can't make you
rule.
laugh every time I say anything. That's everything either. So it's fine. No pity laughs here. No pity laughs.
So
pity laugh is
we're going to go You're going to go in and out of being serious here. This was a question that Dori came up with, and I like it. She said, how have you handled discussions about the in sickness and in health part of being together in older age?
Well, we have had discussions about taking care of each other or not wanting to be taken care of by the other person, as in, we'll hire somebody or we'll, just wouldn't expect the other person to be that kind of caregiver. I cared for my parents for the last 7 years of their lives, and they lived to be age 95. They died just 30 days apart, and they had been married for over 70 years. And so I got to see that for the last 7 years, and they couldn't have taken care of each other because my mother was in a wheelchair and my father was 88 to 95, whatever. So he wasn't able to, totally care for her. So I've seen caregiving up close, intimate and daily 24/7 caregiving. I am prepared to do that, but Mac does not expect me to do that. I do not expect him to be my caregiver. That would be ridiculous at our ages. Loving at a bedside, that's different, but not a caregiver. I think that's a whole different thing. So did you mean that, or did you mean sickness and health like marriage? Oh, I went off on a tangent.
Go for it.
Yeah. So, well, that's another thing we talked about, though, is in our older age and in taking care of each other because we are older. So we have to know about that.
Right, and we mentioned here a little bit just some of the documents that relate to aging, POAs and medical and legal and all that. Have you discussed that? Is that because you are each other's main squeeze at the very least?
Well, I want you to know that because I'm around legal documents frequently, I've given a lot of attention to ignoring this matter. But I want to go back just a little bit.
You're really good at it then, huh? It's like-
I'm an expert. I've been doing this I've been ignoring documents. Jason don't want to hear this. I've been ignoring how to properly fill out forms for 30 years. Nobody wants to know. I want to go back a second.
You did sign your name tonight. I saw you do it. You signed it on the release form. So you can do some.
I can do some.
You can.
I can do it. I can do it. I can. Well, I just wanted to go back to make a public declaration that if I find myself, like Cynthia was in a hospital bed, Dori, I don't want you at my bedside 12 hours a day for 4 months. The occasional visit will be fine. Maybe, a hand-wrapped piece of candy or...
Do you want me to wear a nurse's uniform?
A maid's uniform.
Maybe I don't want to fetishize the medical profession. Thank you for your service. And I do, in fact, though, I do have a will. It's not exactly new. I do have some machinery, but I'm hoping that Calvin, who is pretty much unreachable in Boston, who's probably not watching on live stream, can help until I get around to doing it. And thanks for reminding me, but sooner probably is better than later. Except I think Floyd and I have tickets to a game coming up.
Well, and I have my daughter, and she knows about all my paperwork, and she's my power of attorney with some advisors who are in the room or listening. So I haven't changed anything as far as that goes, and my will. So we haven't so far had that serious a discussion about it to see if there should be a change. But right now, we haven't made a change.
When I was walking around the lake with friends today, I asked if there were questions they would ask, just because we've kind of been over it together. They both wanted to know if you had given up all of your old friends and stuff because you're together now, and they wanted to know. That happens. Those of us who've lost our close friends to the relationship, where they swore they were there for us forever and they're not. I know the answer to this, but how would you say you have carried on your relationships in your life? I mean, how has that changed since you're together? How is your relationships with your other friends?
Well, I have to apologize to my friends, and it's not that Dori's really gotten in the way of the relationships, but ever since they opened the gates to the box office, and I've been able to play music with my friends, and I haven't really given my friends the attention that they deserve, and I'm not even sure I have friends anymore because.
You can start a list.
Don't blame Dori. Don't blame Dori. It's me. I'm the selfish. I'm the one who goes to ball games instead of inviting you out to dinner. I'm sorry. No.
We could start a list. So
I'm not
friends could
debilitated
sign
by
up.
this sorrow, by the way.
We have not significantly started blending our friends yet, but we can because they're all fabulous, and they would definitely all get along. It's more like just we're so in the moment and doing so many things, we just don't plan that very far in advance. But we have done a little bit of that, and yeah, I haven't changed any of my friendships. Well, no, yeah, I haven't changed any of my friendships, but he's right. The time available for actually seeing people in person as often as I used to has certainly changed.
Yeah. I wanted to come back to a topic that we've talked about, and it relates to sort of the general field of aging, which we're very involved with. And that is whether we think older people, by definition, get more rigid as they get older, how we manage change, how we think about it. And I have my opinion, but I'm curious. What do you think about your openness to change, or what you see has changed for you as you've gotten older in terms of things being the same or different? What do you think?
Well, I don't think that people are more set in their ways or rigid as they get older as a stereotype. I mean, I think it is a stereotype. I don't find that with my friends. We all have habits and things that work for us. I've had 72 years to find out some things that work for me, and why wouldn't I maximize my life and my time and my emotions by keeping doing those things? As far as rigid in the negative stereotype, like am I keeping up with technology? Kind of, not as much as I could, but I'm a speaker, I'm a writer, and I'm using technology, for example, and if I can't do something, I ask. So I think it's more about, are you able to learn something new? Do you want to learn something new? I think one of the best things about Max and my relationship is we're both curious. We are interested in new things all the time. Whether we adopt them is a different thing, but you've got to, I think, one has to at least be available to look at all the possibilities and be open to new things. But yeah, some things work for me, and I don't feel like changing because it's good for me. It serves me.
Well, I've gone to the beach in Oregon. I've petted a cat. I actually bought the kitten. The cat's 9. I bought her a special brush, a Mac brush. So I've reached out to the cat. My friends at Lake & Company invited me to play music with them at a couple of performances last year, which was out of my comfort zone because I've never played lead guitar in an 80s cover band before. So I think that I can say I'm open to some new things. I'm certainly open to new music, and I'm closed to books, and I'm... who has time to read? Did you see our schedule? Which actually, Rebecca, goes back to the friend thing. One of the things that's different from being a couple for 40 years is that we may have 2 or 3 dates a week and not 7 nights a week to plan activities with friends and then ticketed things and inviting people for dinner. So I think that our limited time together also limits the time that we have for our friends. Yeah. Because they want to see us together.
Good. I just want to say her friend,
for us.
Just Mac, not to take it away from you, but her cat loves everybody. Just saying.
My kitten, she likes everyone.
Well, I also want to say, so I have a daughter. She was living in California, lived in New York and California for the last 17, 18 years. She just moved back to Seattle 1 year ago. But her husband is deployed and has been deployed since they moved here. In fact, she did not move with him. He deployed. So he's still gone. And so I do have another time commitment because I help her out and I take care of my 5-year-old grandson regularly, and especially if the schools are closed for a break, which they are right now at his school, then the rest of this week I'll be taking care of him during the days because she works. Yeah. So that does affect our relationship, or the time we have together. Hope it doesn't affect our relationship, but the time that we have together. And her husband will be coming home in the 1st of June.
I love that you do this.
Yeah. You seem very supportive of each other's lives. That's my sense that I have about you. Yeah. So let us open it to questions. I don't know if any have come in on the iPad. James, do you have any questions on the iPad? No? So this is your chance, you friends of theirs, to ask them anything you've ever wanted to ask in public. And so ideally, if you come up to the microphone, usually I say make it concise, make it succinct, but go ahead and say anything you want, really. Come on up and ask the questions you've always wanted to ask.
Over.
There we go.
Hello. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate both of you. I brought my mom. Oh. And so you all met through mutual friends, and I met my husband through mutual friends after disastrous online dating. And I think it really is the best possible, it is my experience, it's the best possible way to meet a partner. The person's already been vetted, you kind of have a lot more to go on. But from your conversations with other people, curious how, if it's not through mutual friends, how are older folks meeting each other?
Online dating.
Yeah,
That's what we found, online dating.
And it was nice that I had been vetted, but that wasn't enough. Because the investigative team, this out of a Saturday Night Live skit, actually, but Dori and her daughter, Erica, were scouring the interwebs to find out everything about me. And I have a very common name. So when you look for me on the internet, you will find that I have run for public office on some fringe part ticket here, that I have served a lot of time, that I have
in Florida?
Many.
Were you a prisoner in Florida?
Not Florida, apparently. Arizona. And I have played on many college football teams, poorly, apparently, never won a Heisman or anything, but somehow they were able to filter through all of that and decide that, well, it was safe for Dori to attend one more karaoke session, as long as Chris was there.
So anybody in the audience have had really successful online relationships? It doesn't mean they've lasted forever, but they felt really successful. Raise your hand. Yeah. Yeah, good. So it's not impossible. She's sitting next to somebody who's laughing.
My husband did not raise his hand.
There is a counselor in the house. We can help you.
I thought it was a successful relationship. Maybe we need to regroup.
Holly, do you have to do everything in that relationship? You have to raise the hand and...
There we go, okay. Unanimous.
I get it, John. Holly, raise your hand for us.
Yay. No, I think it's hard. I think it's very hard to figure out as we get older, how do we meet people that are going to be good matches for whatever it is we want to do in relationship, which differs depending on our lives and our histories. So what other questions do we have?
Where'd you get your socks?
These socks, I actually don't know where I got these socks, but I found them in my drawers. I thought, if you take your socks off at my house, I will eventually wear them, but I don't know what happened. I thought, Hello Kitty, why not, Other questions. Here's somebody sauntering up. He's a friend. I know he's a friend of. Go for it. Go for it.
Well, you were talking about, their availability to their friends, and I can just say I'm so grateful for Dori because I do a lot of things. I cannot keep up with Mac. So those two manage to take their lives and still live their lives with all their friends as far as I can tell. So it's been amazing.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
So how does one do online dating effectively? I don't like to sit in front of the computer. I have found it intimidating. You've got to filter through all these people, and then you've got to meet them. And it just seems to me like work more than pleasure. So how do you do it so it works? And what if you're someone that gets rejected or feels rejected easily? People have told me that, you have to be strong because a lot of people will reject you. So how do you do it?
Well, this morning in the New York Times, there was an article about online dating at an older age, and Maggie, somebody wrote it, and so you can go look for that article because she covered about all of that. I'll say that it takes discipline. If you really want to meet someone in your life, you need to carve out time every day to check those pages, but not too much because you'll go crazy, and to make sure that you are that you have that open mind. I'll never forget a friend of mine who's in the audience, and I used to go clubbing back when we were both divorced, and met a guy at a bar, like Mac meets everybody, and I said, well, would you like my number? Would you like to? Can I see you again? And he said, no, I don't think so. And I thought, well, that's sure not a fun answer. And his friend was there, and later said to me, we all were all dancing together, and later said to me, you can't take it personally. And I said, well, it's pretty personal. He said he doesn't want to fight. And his friend said, no, he doesn't know you. It can't be personal. He does not know you at all. He's making that decision based on who knows what. Maybe he was, frightened as a baby by someone in turquoise. You have no idea why he decided not to take your number or to see you again. So I really liked that, and I decided I'm just going to scan. When I went online, I just scan those profiles, reach out, or if someone reached out to me, either decide to or not, and answer quickly. I also went right to a phone call or some kind of in-person. Now we have FaceTime and Zoom. I do not think that a relationship has anything to do with emailing for 6 weeks or a year. I think you need to meet them as soon as possible if you want to, and get them face-to-face. And that'll tell you a lot more. And if they don't want to meet you, they don't want to meet you, but it can't be personal because they do not know you yet.
What good advice. I will tell you, my daughter at one point was doing online dating, and she had a routine. She had a good profile. She got a lot of responses. She would email back. I don't even know that she spoke more than once on the phone. She would speak once on the phone briefly, and then she would meet them. If she liked them, and she would meet in a public place, obviously. For her, it's like, yes, and she would let people know. And if it felt good, she would do it again. But after the second time, if it didn't feel like it was matching whatever those things are that match, she just stopped. And she didn't spend hours on the phone with people she didn't know, and she didn't do lots of emails pouring out her heart to somebody who she had no idea who they were. And so I think it's worth feeling like you can be a choice as well, not just being chosen. It's hard. All of us, I think, have experiences with feeling rejected and uncertainty about, will there be somebody who cares about me? Remind yourselves that you have lives and friends and that you are of value. I think some of it really is a sense of being of worth and knowing what it is you offer in relationships. So, and if they don't know you, if they've met you for an hour, they may find you charming or not, and it's not about you, probably. I don't know if that's helpful.
And
Yeah.
Rebecca, I'd like to add, having been rejected a lot in the sales industry, I get a lot of no's. I get a lot of no's when I'm presenting offers, and agents on the other side are laughing at my pitiful, only $100,000 over asking price offer. I'm like, gosh, I can't even believe you presented that to us. It helps to have a buddy. And I'm very serious about this. If you're ever going to be in a situation that's challenging, like trying to find a partner online or trying to find a job, I think it helps to have a partner, a buddy who is going to not be your accountability person, but who is going to remind you that you are still a valuable person, and these rejections are not personal, and that you can do it again tomorrow. All you have to do is send out the resume, get on the site. The writer in today's New York Times article said twice a day is max, and just do it. You know, there are a lot of things that we don't like doing in the course of a day. Have I mentioned brushing my teeth? But the reality is you do it and you go on with the day. You do it, you go on with the day. And then one day you go for a checkup and you don't have any cavities and you feel like $3,000 richer. So in the dating world, you might find somebody who you want to go out with, and that'll make you feel $3,000 richer.
Other questions?
No, not if they're going to get an answer like I just gave. I promise, Dori will answer the next one.
They want to know what's $100,000 over the offer right now. Well, thank you all for coming. I want to say that that I realized that I was putting a dear friend potentially at risk, but she was willing to do this, and so I appreciate your coming. It shows what deep friendships these two people have, and that this really is something that's worth talking about. So support each other. If you are out there looking for somebody else, there's lots of ways to do relationship than assuming you're going to get married and live together and all of that. So some of it is really about updating our opinions about what relationships mean at different points in our lives, you know. So any last words from the two of you?
Well, I'd like to end my little bit on that most of the people that I know who face a challenge in their lives, like they're starting a new job or trying to get a new job or dating online or going back to school and struggling because they're learning something that they didn't already know, you can fall back on your successes. If you have accomplishments in life, you can fall back on that. And you know that whatever you're taking on is going to have challenges, and it's not going to be smooth. But you can do it because you've done similar things like this before. It's not like I'm asking you to come out and play with us on softball Saturdays, and I know that you're never going to catch the ball, and I know you're never going to throw it to the right base. Everything else you do in life, you can do, probably, possibly. Well, not you, Murray, but a lot of people.
Well, I'll say that we may not have a past, but we have a hell of a future. And one of my things my parents always said was, find someone that is a fabulous conversationalist. Find someone who's interested in different things and open to new things, as I mentioned before, because when the glitter falls off, you can see the person sparkle. And that's the kind of thing where you will always have something to talk about at the dinner table. And that's what makes a relationship last, is that you find each other sparkling.
Did you guys plan a closing song for us?
Oh, you're so funny.
We're not sure of the licensing in the room, so we really shouldn't do any copyrighted material. So we'll have to wait till we get to be upstairs, where I know they have a music license. In spite of ourselves.
You're not going to sing for us.
Oh,
You
and
sure?
sitting on a rail.
They don't want to.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
You guys glitter together. Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you all. Somebody smile.